There is this thing that happens to a lot of people at some point in their financial life. It is not dramatic. It is more like you find out after the fact that something happened, something big, and you could have been part of it, and you just weren't. Not because you were broke, not because you were lazy, just because nobody explained that the option existed. I think about Google's IPO in 2004 a lot, honestly more than I probably should. I had a brokerage account at the time. I had money in it. I remember printing out something from CNN Money about the offering, reading it at my kitchen table, thinking, that's interesting, and then just not doing anything, because I didn't know you could submit a request. I thought IPOs were for big funds and wealthy investors. Nobody corrected me. So I watched that stock go from $85 at open to somewhere north of $700 over the years after that. I didn't lose money, but I also didn't make any. And there's a specific kind of frustration that comes from that, where the thing that went wrong wasn't your finances. It was just that you didn't know the door was open. That's what this video is about, because that door is open again right now. SpaceX is going public. Ticker is SPCX. It'll be on the Nasdaq. Trading starts June 12th. IPO price is expected to be around $135 per share. The company is expected to raise something like $75 billion in this offering, at a valuation of around $1.75 to $1.8 trillion, which, makes it the largest IPO in U.S. stock market history by a pretty wide margin. Saudi Aramco held that record before this. Anyway, I'm going to walk you through this from start to finish. How the IPO actually works, what the two different ways to buy actually are, the exact steps to get set up if you don't have an account yet, and some stuff around taxes and risk that most of these guides just gloss over. If that sounds useful, hit subscribe and give this video a like. My name is John. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't sell courses. I'm not trying to get you into anything. I just find that a lot of people are left out of moments like this, not because they can't participate, but because the process was never explained to them clearly. That's the gap I'm trying to fill here. So, before we get into the mechanics, let me explain what's actually happening with this IPO, because a lot of the coverage this week is going to be pretty breathless, and I want to make sure you have a grounded sense of what you're looking at. SpaceX is pricing its IPO on the evening of June 11th. That's when the final offering price gets locked in. If that number comes in at $135, that's what the institutional investors and certain retail investors who submitted requests through eligible brokers are going to pay. Then on the morning of June 12th, SPCX starts trading publicly on the Nasdaq. That's when the general public can buy it like any other stock. Now here's the thing I want you to understand early, because it shapes everything else in this video. There are basically two different ways to buy SpaceX stock. Two different prices, two different processes, and honestly, two pretty different risk profiles. Most beginners don't realize this distinction exists. Path 1 is trying to buy at the IPO price, the $135 before it starts trading. Path 2 is just buying it after June 12th on the open market, same as you'd buy Apple or whatever. I'll get into both, but I want you to know they exist before we go further. Path 1 is what's called IPO allocation. The idea is that you are trying to get shares at the offering price before the stock starts trading publicly. This used to be basically impossible for regular people. It was institutional investors, big funds, high net worth clients. That's mostly still true, but a few retail brokers have opened up a version of this process to regular account holders. The brokers that currently offer this: Fidelity, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, SoFi, ETRADE. If you have an account at one of those, you might be able to submit what's called an indication of interest, which is just a formal way of saying, hey, I'd like to buy some shares at the IPO price if any become available. Here's how it actually works. You submit your interest. Your broker collects all of those requests from their customers. They bundle it up and send it to the underwriters. And the underwriters, probably Goldman and Morgan Stanley based on SpaceX's history, allocate shares back to the brokers. Then the broker distributes whatever they received among their customers who submitted interest. Fidelity tends to do this through a lottery system when demand is way higher than supply. And demand is going to be way higher than supply. This is the biggest IPO ever. So your odds of getting full allocation at $135 are not great. I want to be honest about that. But the odds aren't zero. And more importantly, there's basically no downside to trying. For Fidelity, the minimum to be eligible is $2,000 sitting in your account, not $2,000 that you're committing to the IPO. just $2,000 present. Some other brokers have different minimums, some higher, some with no specific requirement, so check wherever you have your account. The other thing people get confused about, you're not getting charged when you submit the indication of interest. You're just raising your hand. If the lottery doesn't go your way, nothing happens. No charge, no hold on your money. You just move on to path 2. And honestly, for a lot of people watching this, path 2 might actually be fine. Path 2 is just buying SPCX on the open market after June 12th. You open your brokerage app, you search SPCX, you see the live price, you place an order. That's it. No lottery. No minimum balance requirements for the offering. No special process. The obvious trade-off is that you're no longer paying $135. You're paying whatever the market price is when you buy. And that could be higher than $135, potentially a lot higher depending on how the first day goes. Some IPOs pop significantly on day 1. Airbnb was up something like 113% on its first day. Some don't. Facebook dropped below its IPO price pretty quickly and took a while to recover. Uber kind of just sat there. Nobody knows what SPCX is going to do on June 12th. Not me, not the analysts, not Elon. The stock could open at $160. It could open at $130. I genuinely don't know. I know some of you are already doing the math and thinking, okay, but if this is a long-term hold anyway, does the day 1 price even matter that much? That's a fair point. And mostly, no, it probably doesn't if your time horizon is 10 or 15 years. But there's a version of that logic that trips people up, and I want to talk about it in a minute. For now, let's go through the actual setup steps. Step 1 is choosing your broker. If you don't have a brokerage account, you need one before any of this is possible. For someone who has never done this before, Robinhood is probably the easiest place to start. The app is simple. There are no trading fees, and setup is pretty quick, maybe 10 minutes if everything goes smoothly. They do offer IPO access, though their allocations on big offerings tend to be pretty limited. Worth submitting interest, but don't count on it. Fidelity is the better option if you're trying to maximize your shot at IPO allocation. They have the most established retail IPO access program. Their customer support is actually good, and the platform is more full-featured if you plan to keep investing after this. The trade-off is the interface is slightly more involved than Robinhood. Not complicated, just a little more to navigate. Charles Schwab is solid and trustworthy, though their IPO access tends to be a bit more restricted than Fidelity's. SoFi and ETRADE both work. Both have IPO access. If I had to give a straightforward recommendation for a first-timer who wants the best shot at IPO allocation, Fidelity. For someone who just wants the simplest possible experience, Robinhood. Step 2 is opening and verifying the account. This is pretty standard across all the platforms. You'll need your social security number, a government-issued ID, so either your driver's license or passport, and your bank account info so you can fund it. The verification process, they call it KYC, Know Your Customer, typically takes 1 to 2 business days. So if you're watching this on June 9th or 10th and you don't have an account yet, that's actually a little tight. You need to start today. Verification has to finish before you can add money, and the money transfer has to clear before you can do anything. Which brings me to step 3, funding the account. The transfer from your bank to your brokerage is free on all these platforms. It's an ACH transfer, but it takes 1 to 3 business days to fully settle. Most platforms give you some instant buying power. Robinhood typically makes around $1,000 available immediately on a first deposit. Fidelity has something similar. But if you're planning to put in more than that, get the transfer started well before June 11th. I've made the mistake before of assuming the money would be there and then it wasn't. It's kind of a dumb feeling, sitting there watching a stock open and your account shows pending. Don't be in that situation. Step 4, if you want to try for the IPO price, is submitting your indication of interest. On Fidelity, you log in, go to the research section, find the IPO center, and look for the SpaceX offering. There will be a button to submit interest. You put in how many shares you want. Confirm. Done. On Robinhood, when there's an active IPO, it'll show up on the main screen of the app. Same basic process. Just remember, you are not being charged at this step. You're not buying anything yet. You're just saying you're interested. If you don't get allocated, no money moves. Step 5 is placing your actual order, whether that's on the morning of June 12th because you're buying on the open market, or just checking your account to see if you received IPO allocation. If the lottery worked out for you, you'll see shares in your account at $135. If not, you go find the ticker and buy on the market. Now here is one specific thing I want to flag before you do that. Do not use a market order when you're buying a freshly listed stock. I'll say that again because it's the kind of mistake that costs real money, and it's very easy to do if nobody warned you. A market order just says, buy this at whatever the price is right now. On a stable, established stock on a regular trading day, that's totally fine. On the first morning of trading for an IPO that everyone is watching, the price can move by multiple dollars in a matter of seconds. Your market order could fill at a price noticeably higher than what you saw on your screen when you tapped the button. A limit order is what you want instead. A limit order lets you set a ceiling. You say, I want to buy SPCX, but only if the price is at or below $X. If the stock is trading at $148 and you're comfortable paying up to $152, you set your limit at $152. Your order only fills if the price is at or below that number. If it spikes above, your order just doesn't execute. You don't buy at a bad price. It's a simple thing, and it matters a lot on a volatile opening day. Okay, let's talk about what happens after you own the stock. First, commissions. Most major brokers are at zero commission for stock trades now. Fidelity, Robinhood, Schwab, SoFi, ETRADE. There are tiny regulatory fees sometimes, like literally fractions of a cent per share. Not worth thinking about. The tax piece is worth understanding, though. In the US, when you eventually sell a stock at a profit, how much you owe in taxes depends on how long you held it. If you sell within the first year, the profit gets taxed as regular income. Depending on your bracket, that's anywhere from 10% to 37%. If you hold for more than 1 year before selling, you qualify for long-term capital gains rates, which max out at 20% and for most people is 15% or lower. The difference between selling at 11 months versus 13 months can actually be meaningful. Not a reason to hold on to something that's going the wrong direction, but worth being aware of when you're making the decision to sell. One thing that doesn't come up in most beginner IPO guides, you can buy this inside a retirement account. A traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, both work for individual stocks, including SPCX. The Roth IRA is worth thinking about specifically if you're planning to hold this for a long time. Qualified withdrawals after 59.5 are tax-free. So if SpaceX does well over the next 20 years and you're holding inside a Roth, you don't pay capital gains on any of that growth when you eventually take it out. That's a real advantage for a long-hold position. Worth setting up if you don't already have one. Now I want to spend a couple minutes on something that most IPO guides skip over: the lockup period. When a company goes public, there are restrictions on when insiders can sell their shares. Employees, executives, early investors, they typically can't sell immediately after the IPO. The lockup period is usually somewhere between 90 and 180 days. For SpaceX, expect something in that range, though the exact terms will be in the prospectus. Why does this matter to you? Because when that period expires, a lot of people who have been sitting on equity for years suddenly have the ability to sell. And some of them will. Quite a few of them probably will. That increase in supply can push the price down, at least temporarily. It doesn't always cause a big drop. Sometimes the market absorbs it without much drama. But historically, a lot of IPOs see some price pressure around lockup expiration. If you're planning to build your position over time rather than buying everything at once, that window is worth paying attention to, which kind of leads into the broader strategy question. I want to be straightforward about this, because I think some of you watching are considering putting a significant chunk of money into SPCX on day one. I get why. The company is genuinely interesting. Reusable rockets that actually work. Starlink turning into a real revenue business. Starship potentially being a whole different category of capability if it develops the way they're hoping. Government contracts. It's a real company with real revenue and a real plan. But the $1.75 trillion valuation isn't what the company is worth today based on current earnings. It's what the market thinks it could be worth in the future, which means a lot of the upside that might happen over the next several years is already priced in to some extent. That doesn't mean it won't go higher. It means if something goes wrong, a launch failure, an FAA delay, a setback on Starship's timeline, the price can move down meaningfully even if the long-term story hasn't actually changed. So the approach that I think makes sense for most people watching this is pretty boring, honestly. Don't go all in on day one. If you want to own SpaceX, buy some now and plan to add more over time. Say you were thinking about putting in $2,000 total. Maybe put $1,000 in at IPO or on the open market on June 12th and hold the other $1,000 back. If the stock pulls back a few weeks later, you're in a better position to average into it. If it keeps going up, you already have exposure. It's not clever. It's just not betting everything on a single day. Things to keep an eye on after you buy. Starlink subscriber numbers, which the company has been sharing more regularly. Starship's test flight progress. Any updates on NASA Artemis contracts. FAA licensing decisions, which have caused delays before and could again. None of this means you need to be glued to financial news every day. I went through a phase where I was checking my portfolio constantly. Like before meetings, during lunch, in the parking lot of the grocery store while my wife was inside. It doesn't help. It actually just makes you slightly anxious in this low-level background way that starts affecting how you feel about investing in general. Set a price alert if you want to know about big moves. Otherwise, let it sit. Okay, so I've been sort of dancing around a question this whole video. I said early on there were two paths, IPO allocation and buying on the open market. I explained how both work, but I haven't actually said which one I think makes more sense for a first-time investor. Here's my honest take. It depends on whether you actually have conviction about this as a long-term hold. If you genuinely believe SpaceX in 2040 is worth a lot more than $1.75 trillion today, then the difference between buying at $135 and buying at $155 or $165 after it opens doesn't actually matter that much over 15 or 20 years. Look at Amazon. It didn't matter all that much whether you bought it in 1997 at IPO or in 1999 or even in 2001 after it had dropped 90% from its peak. If you held, the entry price on any of those days looks small relative to where it ended up. The thing that mattered wasn't the price you paid. It was whether you held through the rough stretches. So if you're buying SpaceX, the most important thing isn't whether the lottery gave you $135. It's whether you have a clear enough reason to own it that you won't panic sell after the lockup expiration causes a 25% dip, or after a Starship test goes badly on a day when the market was already down. That's the thing that actually determines whether this works out for you. Not the order type, not which broker you picked. Whether you can hold through the uncomfortable parts without second-guessing yourself into selling at the wrong time. I know this sounds a little obvious, but I've watched people make the Google mistake in both directions. Miss the IPO and kick themselves for years, or get in on day one and sell during the first dip because they didn't really understand what they owned. Both are avoidable, and both come back to the same thing, understanding the process and being honest with yourself about why you're buying. You know the process now. The rest is on you. And look, if you're feeling like you're coming into this late, like everyone else already knows how this works and you're just now figuring it out, that's normal. Nobody teaches this. The people who knew how to submit an indication of interest, who understood lockup periods, who knew not to use a market order on a volatile open, they figured it out the same way you are right now. Someone explained it. Or they made an expensive mistake and learned it the hard way. This is the easier version of that. Drop Valuation in the comments if you're planning to put SpaceX in your portfolio this month. I actually read those. And if this was useful, subscribing means you'll have this kind of breakdown ready the next time something like this comes up. Because there will be a next time.